Okay, with the wheel out of the way, before I even touch the wheel bearings and go to lubricating the rear axle, one thing that is super important that a lot of guys overlook is these adjuster bolts. This is a chain block or chain adjuster bolt. And what happens is this is a steel bolt threaded into aluminum. And aluminum doesn't rust, but aluminum will oxidize and it will gald over time. And if you're not adjusting your chain regularly, and this bike is exposed to a lot of mud and moisture over and over, eventually the bolt can get seized in the swing arm, and then it becomes impossible to adjust the chain. What ends up happening at that point usually is the bolt ends up breaking off, and then you have to take it to a machinist and have it repaired. It's quite time intensive and costly. So to avoid all of that, a little bit of anti-seize goes a long way. So I'm going to show you that. But first, the first thing you're going to need with a KTM is a 13 and a 10 to break that axle nut loose, or excuse me, the chain adjuster. This is the jam nut or the lock nut. So just pop that loose. Once you've taken that jam nut loose, you can see that the axle adjuster bolt is loose on its own. And rather than try to sit there with the wrench all day, I'll just zip it out with a little drill. And now we can apply some anti-seize to this and make sure that it never galds into the swing arm. So what I use to lubricate that chain adjuster bolt is some aluminum anti-seize. And you can get it at almost any automotive repair store, any automotive parts store online. It's available. They have aluminum, they have copper anti-seize. This one, for the cost and for what it does, it's phenomenal. And one thing that's nice about this is it's a lot more water repellent than grease is even. It lasts a lot longer. And the point of it being aluminum anti-seize is it combats that oxidation that takes place in aluminum. And so you don't need a whole lot. I'll just show you quickly. I grab a little on my finger. And I lube the thread up with the anti-seize. And I'll run it in and out, and I'll show you here. I run it in and out a couple of times just so that I coat the inside of those aluminum threads very well with it. We're going to reinstall that. You do this to both sides the exact same way. Once you get it started there, then I'll use my gun. And you can see it build up on the outside there. I'll run it back and forth a couple of times, even reapplying a little bit as I run it. Just to make sure that those get well coated. And that's it. That's all you need to do. Now at this point you can kind of just wipe off that excess, and then I roll that jam nut back a little, put a little bit where that jam nut might be, and that's all you need. We'll do it to both sides the same way.